Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wind. Here I'm playing all the holes from the second tee, giving you my best advice on how to crush the specific course that we are playing. But before we have a closer look at all the content, if you enjoy the free content here on the channel, hit the thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel and click that bell button or the notification button. For those of you that are looking to take that little extra step, you shall look for our premium guides on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You do have the link in the description down below, or you can scan the QR code. There we do have packages that ranges for all the different type of players in Golf Clash, all from tournaments to tour play to checkpoint challenge. You can find something regardless what game mode you want to improve on. You sign up, you try for yourself, and you see how we can help you become a better player in Golf Clash. Last but not least, in this playthrough, you can follow along by following the info box on the right-hand side. Club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind, those are just suggestions, so you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's a plan behind it. Let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1 of the Shi Feng Basin, we are going to play a no movement here when we do have tailwind, but also crosswind. 4 topspin, 3 left spin, and we're using our apocalypse here to make sure that we do have all the power possible. Even the lower level apox will still reach to the same spot, as here it doesn't open up at max P3 line. Max plus 30 P3 numbers using a 0.8 ball of left curl together with circle drop overpower. You can see we bounce center fairway to the other fairway, and then it rolls to a semi-long putt, where obviously we could play with slightly less topspin and maybe attack the pin a little bit better. But it is a tricky one having to double bounce over that rough, whereof obviously if you clip the rough you're going to end up with a wedge. If you end up with a wedge, you play it EB school plus a 20 and whatever Powerball number you are getting or having. If you do have a headwind, you can still play a similar type of play, but then we do recommend to play with a P4 or P5 ball. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of overpower and it's going to be a very big gamble. For hole number 2, we are going to start with a power 0 ball when we do have tailwind, crosswind, or headwind. This as we want to try to find max or min line here using the Grizzly at max in tailwind and crosswind, and in headwind we're gonna play with our sniper in at min line. The reason for that is that it's so much more than easier to get consistency with our shot, as we do have a firm reference point. If we would have just been having a floating landing spot, then that's going to be very easy to yeah, it's gonna be hard to replicate. It's easier to say that way. So starting with the white ring by the wood by the water, adjust max plus a 20, and here I'm using a 2.8 backspin together with 1.5 bar of right spin. Burning the edge here, but obviously when it comes to par 3s, especially when we're playing this much downhill, it's gonna be required to do some wind angle tweaks and stuff like that to get the drops on a more consistent basis. But hole number 2 offers a decent chance for an hole-in-one here of the new beautiful course. On hole number 3, we are going to put our target at the top of plus 10, which would reflect using max line with Apocalypse level 4, for an example, or also other drivers that do not have the full power. Using 3 left spin and 5.8 top spin. Again, 5.8 top spin is to give even those of you that do not play with higher level clubs a chance to replicate what I'm trying to show. Adjust max plus 10 P3. We're going to go full blast with, in this case, I'm using 1.5 ball of left curl, which is a tiny bit too little. It's still fine though, but look how close I am getting to the right side of the rough here. Lands nicely on the fairway, but with the rollout, you see how close we're getting to the right rough, and that's too close for comfort. So we're gonna want to increase the left curl just slightly. So max plus 10 on the drive, 5.8 top spin, 3 left spin, and that's gonna leave us with a Grizzly on the approach. Because I do believe there is value to playing with the Grizzly instead, instead of playing with a sniper if having to lay up from further down. Alright, so now let's take a look at the reference. We're using a reference that is a top white ring pin check, frame check, blue ring now by the bunker and by the wood. The reason I'm doing that type of landing position is to find a landing position that we can replicate, which meaning that we need references. Having to just have a floating landing spot is never really going to be super consistent. So I'd rather have this and then having spins to pin. Adjustment here now, I'm using here we should be adjusting 48% slider with no elevation, P3 numbers. I'm adjusting a little bit too little, 0.1 too little, hence the specifying the 48% slider instead. Now, very unlucky getting a 360 painfully around the hole, but this hole 3 here offers, in my opinion, a very strong chance for an albatross. What's not shown here on the replay is that I'm starting with a power 4 ball, this to find absolute min line, so make sure to pack your Grizzly or a backbone to make sure to find a firm min line. And this is for crosswind, but also for headwind. So 5.5 bar of topspin, and I'm looking to have the ball guideline through the hole. And once I've found that spot with my target at P4 min line, I'm swapping to a navigator ball. You can obviously play with a ball with much more wind resistance if you would prefer that. Adjust here in headwind, I'm using max with no elevation P1 numbers. If we're playing in direct crosswind, we're playing min numbers instead with no elevation. And the reason we are switching like that is to keep the same true elevation, but using the club distance to compensate for the different wind angles. Obviously, if you're playing in tailwind, you can't play exactly the same way if it's a strong tailwind, but as we are starting at P4 min line and swapping to a P1 ball, we will still be able to play sniper. But then the ball guideline needs to be short of hole, and it's going to be the same type of adjustment as we would be doing in crosswind, which is min, no elevation, P1 numbers. I would say this of the par 3s are definitely an extremely good chance for an hole-in-one. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guides for the Sichuan Regional Tournament and also every other tournament that is being hosted in Golf Clash. You can also check out our exclusive tour shootout guides as well. Have in mind that if you're not interested in spending any paid balls, you can do so with our guides, as we do have free-to-play ball options for every hole that we do create in tournaments and also for every shootout that we do have in tour play. For those of you interested in Quick 9, we are doing some guides for those events. However, they are separate to the standard packaging, so make sure to look out on our Patreon page for when we are hosting the Quick 9s. Next one in line is 26th of February, which is the Wednesday. In the middle of the Sichuan Regional Tournament, so make sure to get access or buy access to that. There is a link in the description down below as well. We will come out with more information regards how we will approach these Quick 9 events in the future in the next couple of weeks. But sign up patreon.com/golfclashtommy for the best guides on the market. On hole number 5, if we do have a tailwind, we can, to a degree, sending it here by trying to go directly over the first bit of water, bounce on the fairway pad, and then either land on the second one or try to go even further. That obviously will be a much simpler way of getting an albatross here, but as having headwind, I'm starting with a quarterback at max, red rain by roughline, swapping to my apocalypse, and as all the apocalypse has more power than the quarterback level 10, it will always open into the same spot. Now, some curl to the right, and using 1 top spin and 3 right spin, adjustment is max plus 10. For the second shot, we are going to use our sniper when we are this far off. So what we're going to do here now is that we are going to really have to think about what type of wind direction we have here now. Now we do have a headwind. What's going to happen with headwind? It's going to be that we're going to have a compressed ball guideline, which will then make the ball turn left. Okay, as the green here, as you can see with the ball guideline, is going to slightly move left, and it's something that we then have to either offset for, or we have to use spins in a different way to ensure that we are not missing left. I'm using here as my reference as a your turn plus yardage, and we can see here now that, I mean, I'm trying to see if there is some type of sticky spot, but I can't really find anything. Aiming through the hole here, and once I'm making my adjustment, I'm using an adjustment that is max, no elevation, P3 numbers from here. What needs to be said though is that the no elevation is what I judge the true elevation to be here, but as always, when it comes to the different type of wind directions, it may require less or more to compensate for what happens after the first bounce. Bounces on the fairway up towards the green. You can see here now, due to the headwind, the ball slows down and it becomes pushed more left as it trails off quicker than we're missing on the left hand side. So hole number 5 here, if we cannot send it to get closer, this is most definitely going to be a tough par 5 to drop consistently. For hole number 6, a par 4, here we can go for green if we do have a tailwind. I would say like this as well, that if we do have a crosswind and even a headwind, we could use a topspin boost ball and do some sort of a double bounce over that last piece of rough that we're trying to have our first bounce to bounce over right now. But obviously everything simplifies if we do have a tailwind. So we start at max club, 5.8 topspin, 2 left spin is what I'm using, adjust max plus a 10. And now I'm using max overpower with a slower needle with approximately 3/4 of a ball of left curl. Now, obviously, you can use a ball with less wind resistance, which means that it will fly longer. You can use more topspin, and then you will possibly go to green and actually attack the pin for an hole-in-one. But if you do not have the means to do that, meaning that you don't have the club or you don't have the ball, then we're going to have to play a wedge. And the wedge, super simple. It's a standard EB school play, and I'm going to display this for you here now. So you can see here that I'm stretching out to max to see where max club is, and then I look to where the pin stands in relation to max and min club. Then I judge the club distance from there, and that equals then my slider. 20% elevation is what I'm using here with EB School with no spin. And the beauty with playing with the Endbringer is obviously that if you are that terrible like myself to hit great with a wedge like this, then you will see yourself still have a good chance to drop for an eagle. If you do have a direct headwind and you don't have the possibility to play with a topspin boost ball on off tee, you can lay up. And then you have to attack the pin with a short iron from distance. Still very makeable, but obviously if we can send it, we're gonna send it. On hole number 8, we're going to box in the red ring. Left side by bunker, right side by rough. Then we're going to apply spin to pin. So we want to have the ball guideline just at the hole. And this applies when we do have a tailwind. If we do have a headwind, we do want to have the ball guideline through the hole because we're going to otherwise stop short in line. Adjustment, medium distance with a 5% elevation. And then we're going to center the ball and hit perfect. Have in mind that the adjustment will differ with the different wind angles here because it will affect the ball differently, and we always want to keep aiming at the hole. Perfect ball into the rough, rolls up the green, dropping it dead center for a lovely hole-in-one here on hole number 8. If you don't feel confident or comfortable with the rough bump, you can always bounce on the fairway, but a rough bump will allow you to not have that much wind to compensate for once it hits the ground, which makes it for a much more consistent way of dropping. For hole number 8, here I'm playing an NMT, and I'm using 3 right spin and 5.8 top spin. This to make sure that this shot can be replicated even with lower level Apocalypse. Adjustment, I'm using max with no elevation, and the reason I'm doing that is because it's not because 0 is the true elevation. The true elevation I would judge from here is going to be plus 15, but the reason I decreased elevation is to ensure that I can play the NMT and still hit the pad, as I from an NMT position are aiming very close to the rough line to the left. So, second shot here now is going to be played with a grizzly from min line, right? I love those type of shots. And the thing with this is that obviously you can't play the grizzly from absolute min line if you are having a tailwind on the approach. Then you can either push up rings from min and still play grizzly, or that you're playing with a short iron instead. But now having a headwind together with crosswind, or if we would have just had a straight crosswind, we're playing from the min line. Now, from min line, I'm playing 25% elevation and min club. So always want to try to do the correct club distance here together with elevation. But does that mean that this is the true elevation? No, it's not. It's more a 0 for the true elevation here, but the only reason that the elevation increases is because I use the elevation to increase the adjustment to compensate for what happens after the first bounce. So after the first bounce, the wind will affect the ball. After the second bounce and the third bounce, the wind will affect the ball. And then I increase the elevation to compensate for that. Hole number 8 offers a really good chance for an eagle. For the drive here on hole number 9, here is all about what type of club and ball, and also what wind you have, if you can reach over to the 2 fairway pads or fairway islands that you do have after the water. If you can reach the center of them too, then you do have a pretty nice and sweet approach towards the pin. It does, however, require a lot of topspin, or that you do in some sort of a max OP shot with less topspin and reach over there. So the video is displaying a more conservative route, which always gives you a chance for a drop, but staying away from the water. Adjust max plus 10 using 3 topspin, 2 left spin. I'm playing with a power 5 ball, this to ensure that I do have the power for the second shot. Now, when it comes to the second shot, we can do 2 ways. I'm going to show you both, and we're going to start with the more aggressive one, which is going to be a rough bump. So we're gonna have, not at the pot obviously, so we're gonna go at that one, and we're gonna take a look at the rough bump. So this is a more technical one where it requires that you do play with the cataclysm. So what we're gonna do here now, or what we're doing, is to put the target at max club, ball guideline to go just to the hole. And you can see here now that even if we are aiming inside the bush, it's not affecting the ball guideline at all. So aiming there with the ball guideline to hole. Here from max line, I'm adjusting max, no elevation, P5 numbers. And then to compensate for the extra push that we're getting from the tailwind, I'm going to do circle break under power. So you can see that I'm centering the ball, moving back to circle break under power, and doing my best to hit perfect. A perfect ball here now will land where we have been aiming, you can see there, and it rolls up towards the pin, dropping for a lovely albatross. If you don't feel comfortable with an aggressive one like that, you can always play with the sniper. However, though, bouncing up towards the pin is not going to be as consistent as a rough bump, especially from this long distance, but it's always going to be super safe. So let's take a look at that one just for reference. Alright, so now the sniper. You can see I can't reach for the rough bump, I also don't have the top spin for doing so. So I'm using 2 right spin, and now it's all about finding the sweet spot with the top spin. And here I'm moving right and right, feeling that the more right I am, the more consistent the rollout should be. What I do need, or what I do forget about here, is that it's actually slightly uphill when the ball comes towards the green. So we kind of have to aim with the ball guideline closer towards the pin than this. I mean, the idea with offsetting for the tailwind push is good, but I'm offsetting way too much. 10% elevation is what I judge this normal bounce up shot to be needed, whereof the rough bump, as you remember, was needed nothing. So even with a great left, we're safe and it bounces on the fairway, but as you can see, we don't have speed enough to give the ball a chance. But that's a different way of attacking the pin on the second shot here on a tough par 5, such as hole number 9. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division. Here you have seen me playing all the holes in the tournament with various wins, giving you my best advice on how to crush the tournament. If you're looking for more content, you can find more free content here on YouTube, but also on our website, golfclashtommy.com. But for those of you that are looking to take that little extra step, look for our premium guides. You can find that on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You have the link in the description down below, or you scan the QR code here on the screen to go directly there. We do have packages that ranges all from $4 up to, whatever level you want to, and we do have premium guides for all the game modes. So, do yourself a favor, sign up, try for yourself, and see how we can help you improve and have more fun with this game. You don't have to be a top tier player to sign up, because we do have packages for all the players that are playing this game. So check it out and see for yourself. Thank you very much once again for watching this playthrough. I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.